What is up? Thank you for joining me for another episode of Do You Want More, an MMA stat show here on the Monk Maddox channel. I am your host, Monk, aka Monk Master Flex, and let's get right into the breakdown for Zaruk Adashev versus Ryan, don't call me Chris, Benoit, coming up on this weekend's UFC Fight Night, Uriah Hall versus Sean Strickland card. Let's get right into it. This is going to be a flyweight bout. Adashev, 5'5", 65-inch reach against Benoit, 5'5", 68-inch reach. Benoit is going to be, let's see, almost 3 years exactly older than Zaruk. Zaruk 3-3 professionally, has 2 TKO wins, 1 TKO loss, 1 submission loss. He is 0-2 in the UFC. Ryan Benoit 10-7 professionally, 8 TKO wins, 1 submission win, and 2 submission losses. He is 3-5 in the UFC. Average fight time for Adashev 7.7. Average fight time for Ryan Benoit 11.4. Our ass whoop index is pretty bad for both of these guys. Negative 12.49, negative 6.72 for Benoit. No power index for Adashev, and a 1.49 for Ryan Benoit power index. So pretty good. That's good for 5th in the division. Chindex for Adashev, complete opposite, 1.92. That is good for 25th out of 28 of the flyweights I have in my database. And Ryan Benoit never been knocked down. Let's check some odds here. Best fight odds does not have any decision props. As of now, Ryan is a minus 136 favorite over Zaruk, plus 112. Not much line movement at all on these guys. Notable performances. Let's see, not too much to speak of there. You can take a look at a little bit of that. Fight finishing data. No finish wins for Adashev. He did get finished in one of his fights in the UFC. Ryan Benoit, 66% finish win percentage, 40% finish loss percentage. So lots of finishes on his record. 2 TKO wins, 2 submission losses there, and Adashev has been TKO'd 1 time. So graphical analysis of those finished stats that we just talked about. If they're all bunched up like they are up here for Adashev, that just means they're all zeros, and ignore that. So let's get into the meat of it. Striking data. Let's see. For Adashev, 1.93 significant strikes landed per minute. That is towards the very bottom of the division. He lands those little bit of strikes at 23.26%. So that is dead last for flyweight accuracy. 2.94 significant strikes landed per minute for Ryan Benoit at a 41% accuracy. Defensively, Adashev, 3.35 significant strikes landed on him per minute at a 60% defense, and Ryan Benoit is pretty close there, 3.3 or 3.4 significant strikes landed against per minute at a 60% defense. So very close defensive numbers, but Benoit has the offensive accuracy and volume going for him against Adashev. Negative striking differentials for both of these guys. Negative 0.45 for Benoit and a negative 1.42 for Zaruk there. So both towards the bottom of the division. Knockdown data. Zaruk has no knockdowns and has been knocked down once for a just sub 1 KD against per 15. Ryan Benoit, 4 knockdowns in his 8 fights. That's good for a 0.66 knockdown per 15 minutes. And has never been knocked down. So like to see that there. Definitely more power out of Ryan Benoit according to the UFC stats. Takedown data. Zaruk has shot 1 takedown and did not finish it, and has had no takedowns landed against him. 0.78% takedown shooting rate, so does not like to do that, it seems. At least in his 1 or 2 fights, I should say. Ryan Benoit, 2 out of 8 takedowns landed for 25% accuracy. His takedown defense is pretty good, stopping, 43 of 61 takedowns for a 70.5% takedown defense. That's over our 70% number that we like to see. Takedown shooting rate, 1.23%. So not very high, but almost double what Zaruk likes to shoot. Opponent takedown shooting rate, however, 7.76 for Benoit. So his 8 opponents really like to go in for the takedowns on him. Takedowns per 15, negative 2.63 for Ryan Benoit, and a 0 for Zaruk Adashev. Control time data, nothing at all to speak of for Adashev, 0.21% both sides, so just 3 seconds total. Ryan Benoit, 5.26%, control time for, 26.6% control time against. So he gets controlled 4 out of 15 minutes. Get up time, 23.92 for Benoit. Hold down time, 36 for Benoit. No get up time data for Zaruk, and has a very poor 2-second hold down time. Control time activity rate. This is a stat we came up with to, what do the guys do or ladies do when they're in control in the cage? Are they trying to get takedowns, throwing clinch strikes? Are you active on the ground? Are you just laying and praying, basically? So the higher number is the more active you are. Zaruk Adashev, look at that. 210 control time activity rate. I mean, that's the highest one I've seen so far. I did just make this stat like last week or so, so I haven't seen everybody's, but that is a high one. Good for first in the flyweight division. And Ryan Benoit has a 20, which is also very high. Good for 6th in the division. But Zaruk, we got to do our film study on him and see what he's doing on the ground, or when he's in control. Actually, I just realized he only has 3 seconds of control time. So in that 3 seconds, he must have absolutely, dominated, apparently. So you can't really take this into consideration. I'm talking out my ass here. Submission and reversal data. No submission data for Zaruk Adashev at all, and no reversal data. Ryan Benoit has thrown 3 submissions, has not been successful in any of them, and he has had 9 submissions thrown against him. Looks like 2 of them have been successful. Couple reverses and couple reversals against in there as well. Advanced significant striking data. Not going to go through all these numbers, but let's see what jumps out at me here. Everything's pretty much, average or below average for Adashev, and right about average for Ryan Benoit. So nothing at all is really jumping out at me there. Advanced significant striking percentages. What do these guys like to throw? Zaruk throws 83% of his strikes to the head, 10% to the body, and 7% leg strikes. Ryan Benoit, 84% to the head, 11% to the body, and 4% leg strikes. So both these guys are kind of headhunters. They like to mix it up to the body a little bit, but not too much at all. Right below that is a graphical analysis of the statistics we just talked about. So look at that. Significant strikes landed against Zaruk. 98% of the strikes landed against Zaruk have been from the distance. None have been in the clinch. 1.92% have been on the ground. So interesting to see what will happen if Ryan Benoit can get this to the ground. Last 5 fights we're going to skip for Adashev. We'll briefly go over the graphs here for Ryan Benoit. He has been trending upwards in most of these categories. We'll just go over it quick. Significant striking accuracy, 3.74% improvement. So his significant striking accuracy has gone up 3.74% over his last 5 compared to his career. Opposite of that, takedown accuracy has dropped in the last 5, 8% compared to his career. So that's kind of how you read these numbers and how you would read these graphs. So not necessarily what I would say is getting worse, but just maybe kind of trending down, or something they don't look for or aren't, or it depends on their opponents as well. But something they maybe aren't looking for as much over the past 5. So something to consider there. Apparently I don't have a strength of schedule for these two. What's going on here? I'll have to look at that later. I'll have that posted for the DraftKings show that I'll do in a couple of days before the fights go down. So here is the UFC Fight History. You can take what numbers you want from that. In the last 5, Ryan Benoit is 2 of 3, and Zaruk has lost both of his fights in the UFC. So as we've already discussed, let's go down to the graphs of a couple of categories. Quick explanation. Solid blue line is our fighter. Solid orange line is our opponents. The dashed lines are the trend lines over the past 5. Solid green line is our fighter's average, and solid yellow is their opponent's average. So you want the blue over the orange. You want your fighter trending up, and you want your fighter's average over the over the opponent's average, which is not what we have here from Zaruk on any of these graphs. Opponent's trend line way up, even higher than his. Their average is up. No takedowns to speak of, and the control time has also gone up for Zaruk's opponents. On the other side, Ryan's opponents, significant striking. Both him and his opponents are trending up, but he has just a slight, or his opponents, I should say, have just a slight edge on the strikes landed per minute. See if he can improve that in this fight. Takedowns, his opponents dominate that category over him. I think he's only landed 1 takedown, it seems like, over the past 5. And control time percentage as well. 22% for his opponents, 2.8% for him. So not looking great there. He's also trending down off that 2.8%. So hopefully Ryan Benoit can improve some of this stuff in this fight coming up. But that is going to do it, guys. That's the statistical breakdown for Zaruk Adashev versus Ryan Benoit for this weekend's upcoming card. Uriah Hall versus Sean Strickland. So make sure to do your fight tape. Statistics are not the end all be all, as I always say, when it comes to picking fights. In fact, they are secondary. So you have to be sure to do your fight tape. Then check out this. This is the perfect companion to go with your fight study. Put them both together and you guys will have a good time. You'll be winning some money. You'll be taking money from the bookies and you'll have a good time watching the fights here this weekend. Uriah Hall versus Sean Strickland on ESPN. So thanks so much for joining me and we will catch you at the next one. Peace.